Hi, in this video we're going to show how we can create the folders component with a selection feature and the option to delete the folders and change the trash icon. We start with generating the folders component, deleting the test, export from the index, and importing it into the applications module. Then we go to the desktop component template and add this new component in the div with a class folders. In the browser, we see folder works. Then we go to the folders component and add the folders input field. We created a folder model back in the RxJS store video. Another input we're gonna need is the isFinderOpened, which we'll use later when we start using the folders component inside of the Finder component as well. Then we inject the store and add the onFolderSelected method, which accepts the folder selection type. And we are going to create it in the models. This interface will have the ID field, selected, and selected multiple fields. This method is going to call the toggle folder from the store. And inside of this method, we'll first check if multiple folders were selected. And if this was the case, then we want to set the state in a way to preserve the folders that were already selected. And just add this new one. If only one folder was selected, then we initialize the selected folder IDs with this folder only. In the folders component template, we want to loop through the folders and render a folder icon for each folder. We didn't create this component yet, so let's do it now. You can use Ctrl+D on Windows or Command+D on a Mac when you want to select the next occurrence of the word. I suggest you learning a few shortcuts if you're not familiar with them, as it will make your life a lot easier. In the component class, we'll do a little cleanup first, and then we proceed by adding the folder input field. The exclamation mark means that we promise that the field will have the value. This is a compiler time check, and if we didn't add it, we would have to initialize it in the same line or in the ng-on-init or in the constructor. Another input field is the isFinderOpened field, and we'll also have an output for the click event. The template consists of a div with a class of folder icon and a child div with a class of image, and another div with a class of title. Then we wire up the click event and we will call the onToggleSelection in the component class. OnToggleSelection will first prevent the event propagation and then emit the event with the following information: an ID of the folder, a selected field, and selected multiple, which will catch the control or command keys. I could have used the strongly typed event emitter with the folder selection. The image and the title will have extra classes when the folder is selected or is inside of the Finder, because we need to style them differently, as we're gonna see in a few moments. Now, in the store, we're gonna add a few folders. The first one will be the desktop folder, which will not be rendered, but it will serve as a parent for other folders. We'll use the field parent folder ID to create this relationship. Finally, we'll add a desktop folder observable, which will extract the folder's value from the current state, and then filter out the deleted folders, and choose only the ones with the correct parent folder ID. And we want to use the map operator to find out if the folder is in the selected folder IDs array. With this approach, we can already see that we achieved one-way data flow, since the data always come in from the store, and all the changes are propagated back from both the folder icon and the folders components. With change detection strategy on push, we make sure that the change detection only runs when our inputs changed. And the easiest way for Angular to detect this change is to check if the reference has changed. and it always does when you use the data store that enforces immutability. In the desktop component, we'll add this new observable and pass the value to the folders component within a sync pipe. And to make the compiler happy, we'll pass the empty array if there is no value. In the folders component template, we'll render the folder icon and pass the data to it. We'll attach the click event to the onFolderSelected method. In the browser, we see Untitled in the top left corner. This means that the desktop contains a folder with a title Untitled. Let's maybe add another folder to the desktop, the one with the title Tutorials, and the change is visible. Now we want to style the folder icons. We import the helpers, and the container will be the flex with a direction of column. The width is arbitrary with 100 pixels, and we add a little margin to the bottom. The div image will have a smaller width and a height of 3 rams, with a bottom margin as well. And it will use the bg image helper to set the folder image. And it is a folder icon, the name of the container. It starts to look like the real folder now. The title should have a font size and the font weight properties, and the color is light 0. We prevent the user selection and add a 1 pixel padding. The title looks good now. But the folders component aligns vertically and I want to change this. And that's why I add the display inline block to each folder's icon div and a small spacing at the top. Now let's style the folders for cases when the selection occurs. And they will have the purple 1 background color and a little box shadow with a 2 pixel border radius. The Finder class is not relevant for this video, but I'm going to add it anyway since I will use it in the video 12, which is going to be released soon. If I click on the folder now, we can see that the background changed. But I need to add this specific styling to the title as well, and I want it to have a blue background. But first I want to add a dark 1 variable to the variables SCSS. This blue 700 class comes from the prime flex that we mentioned in the previous video. Now the title looks as it should be. I want to clear the selection when the user clicks somewhere else on the desktop, so that's why I'll add the unselect folders in the desktop component and call the unselect all folders from the store. This method will be simple as it's only going to set the selected folder IDs to an empty array. Then we wire up this method to the click event handler in the desktop component template and make sure that it works in the browser. So if I click outside, the selection is cleared. Now we want to create the delete folder functionality. To do so, we'll create a host listener for the key down event, and it is going to be the keyboard event. Then we'll check if the control key was pressed in a combination with the backspace key. And if this was the case, then we'll call the delete selected folders from the store. This method will simply add the selected folder IDs to the deleted folder IDs, and we'll see the change immediately reflected as the desktop observable will take care of filtering out the folders. Now when I select the folder and press the Ctrl plus backspace combination, the folder gets deleted. But the trash icon is not indicating this. That's why we go to the doc component and create the onDestroy subject here, since in a moment we're gonna create an observable called trash item count in the store and listen to its changes in the doc component. This observable represents the number of folders that are deleted. When this value changes, we'll call the update trash icon method to find and update the trash icon. For this, we are going to use the map operator again and set the trash icon to trash full. And we don't want to forget to add the ng-onDestroy lifecycle to actually emit the value from the onDestroy subject and ensure that the trash items count observable will unsubscribe. Now if I delete the folder in the browser, the trash icon will be changed, but only when I move the mouse down to the dock. And the reason is that we are using the change detection strategy in push, and the change detection will not run in this case. So that's why we need to use the change detector ref and call the mark for changes manually. Now when I delete the folder, the trash icon gets changed immediately. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe not to miss the end of the series, where we'll be creating the desktop context menu, the Finder component and the trash, Spotlight and the settings dialog. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching.